Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. On to some international news. Reuters agency says workers trying to cool the reactor core to avoid a meltdown have been evacuated. Earlier, Japan's nuclear agency said that levels of radioactive iodine in the sea near the plant have risen more than 1,000 times the usual level. The UN's nuclear agency has warned the crisis could go on for months. It is believed the radiation at the Fukushima is coming from one of the reactors, but a specific leak has not been identified. The plant's operator has been berated for a lack of transparency. And while more than 500 protesters gathered in central Tokyo on Sunday to call for the abolishment of nuclear power amidst rising fears about radiation contamination from a damaged nuclear power plant. Protesters marched in front of the Tokyo Electric Power Corporation headquarters to voice their opposition in a peaceful protest. Radiation has been seeping from the troubled Fukushima nuclear power plant after a massive earthquake and tsunami struck the nation more than 2 weeks ago. Since then, it has made its way into milk, seawater, and 11 kinds of vegetables, including broccoli, cauliflower, and turnips. Tap water in several areas of Japan, including Tokyo, has shown higher than normal levels of radiation. And while similar protests echoed in Germany as well, millions of people held anti-nuclear protests across cities in Germany on Saturday, carrying placards and chanting anti-nuclear slogans. People wanted the world to stop producing energy from nuclear power plants. Rallies were also held in Hamburg, Munich, and Cologne under the theme Fukushima Wants, Pull the Plug on All Nuclear Power Plants. And moving on to news from trouble-torn Libya, the rebels have pushed on westwards after recapturing the key oil town of Ajdabiya from Colonel Gaddafi's forces. The BBC is reporting that they have reclaimed Brega, a town they have had lost to advancing pro-Gaddafi forces before coalition airstrikes started last week. Fresh airstrikes have been reported at Sabha in central Libya. Libyan state television said military and civilian areas have been hit, but there was no independent confirmation.
Today, I can report that thanks to the brave men and women in uniform, we've made important progress. We're succeeding in our mission. We've taken out Libya's air defenses. Gaddafi's forces are no longer advancing across Libya. In places like Benghazi, a city of some 700,000 that Gaddafi threatened to show no mercy, his forces have been pushed back.
Well, there was high drama at a hotel in Libyan capital Tripoli when a woman started narrating the story of her abuse to foreign journalists staying in the hotel. The woman claimed she was stopped by Gaddafi's forces at a checkpoint, abused, and then led away to be gang raped by 15 men. But while she was narrating her story, the government minders in plain clothes stormed the hotel and dragged her out, bundling her into a car and taking her away. This is widely seen as an indication of the crackdown, as dissenters outed by the defiant Gaddafi. Moving on, 2 people have been killed in the Syrian city of Latakia during the anti-government protests. Officials said the 2 people were killed by snipers, but activists said security forces opened fire on protesters. In the last week, dozens of people have been killed in a number of Syrian cities in protests against the rule of President Bashar al-Assad. The authorities have blamed the violence on armed gangs trying to destabilize the country. The US and the UN earlier condemned the Syrian government following reports that troops fired on peaceful protesters on Friday. And back to news from India. Senior Congress leader Kapil Sibal hit out at BJP's Arun Jaitley a day after a US cable leaked by WikiLeaks revealed that Jaitley had referred to Hindu nationalism as an opportunistic issue for his party. And when asked about the authenticity of the cables, Sibal said the Congress will give it back to the BJP in the same terms as BJP did to Congress in the Parliament the last week.
BJP gave full credence to the WikiLeaks. So we test them by their own standard, right? Either they should publicly say that their stalling of Parliament was wrong, that what they did in Parliament was wrong, that in fact they should publicly apologize to the nation, that whatever is said in the WikiLeaks is wrong and inaccurate. Once they say that, then you seek my comment on this. That's number one. Number two, in this particular case, the conversation between Robert Blake, the Shardi affairs, and Mr. Jaitley is in quotations. He's quoted in the cable that this is the talking point of the BJP, and Jaitley characterized it as opportunity.
And in news now on the Arushi Hemraj double murder case, well, the widow of Hemraj, who was the domestic help of the Talwars as well, has now filed an application on the Ghaziabad court, claiming that the probe seemed to be focused only on Arushi and that Hemraj seems to have been overlooked.
हमें आज तक किसी ने पूछा नहीं, कुछ नहीं किया। हमने ये सोचे थे कि कोई किसी ने हमको पूछने आएंगे, कुछ बताएंगे। दोनों केस चल रही है, दोनों बराबर की निसाब हो जाएगी, दोनों के पूछेंगे। वो कर रहे हैं, वो उसके आरोसिया की छानबीन चल रही है, हमारी कुछ नहीं चल रही है। उन्होंने ये बताई थी डॉक्टर राजेश तरवार ने, हमारे घर के अंदर जो कुछ बात हो जाएगी, किसी से बात तुम बताया था, तेरे को जेल में खतरा है, ये बताया था, इसीलिए घबराहट बात कर रहे थे उनके। बस इतनी बताई, हमें और कुछ नहीं।
National Women Commission has asked the Madhya Pradesh government a detailed report on trafficking of minor girls. Recently, 21 such girls were rescued by the police. And what is more nerve-wracking is that the minor girls were being administered hormones and steroids for fast growth to push them into prostitution.
Not a person around. Locked doors is what greets one at this village in Mandsaur district of Madhya Pradesh. The village houses 30 Banchras families who are scheduled castes, and each family has at least one minor girl. Now many of them have fled after intense police raids looking for minor girls trafficked into prostitution. In the last 20 days, police has rescued 21 girls between 1 and 9 years of age. Each girl sold to Banchra families for prices ranging between 20 to 70,000 rupees. A gang of 29 members has been busted. Their target, kidnapping minor girls from railway stations, bus stands and temples.
मैं बरसात के टाइम फुग्गे बेच रही थी, मेरे को उठा के ले गए थे, दो आदमी मुझे रखते कि है ना चल बेटा तू है ना चॉकलेट खा ले आराम से। फिर मेरे को बस में बिठा दी, मेरे को पिपलिया मंडी उतार दी थी, मेरे को पैसे में बेच दी थी।
What's even more shocking is that the minor girls were given hormones and steroids regularly for early puberty so that they could be pushed into prostitution early. Police suspect over 800 minor girls are still there in almost 16 Banchra bastis. A drive is on to rescue those girls. Police are even contemplating DNA tests to corroborate maternity claims of women the girls are staying with.
Suspicious cases में हम DNA profiling का भी सहारा लेंगे, जिससे कि ये एस्टैब्लिश किया जा सके कि ये बच्चियां जो उन डेरों में रह रही हैं, उन व्यक्तियों के साथ में रह रही हैं, वास्तव में उनकी बच्चियां न होकर दूसरों की बच्चियां हैं.
Now the National Commission for Women has asked the state government for a detailed report on child trafficking. With Manish Purohit and Rubina Khan Shapu in Mandsaur, in New Delhi, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV.
This is NDTV Hindu's News Tonight. Coming up, all hotels in Mohali are filling up ahead of the Mother of All contests.